Hey, hey, hey. I believe we are live. And as soon as I scroll down, it moves the video. Okay, but it looks like we're good. Yay. All right, so I actually did it. I'm live the exact same time that I was live yesterday, and this door is open. So let me just close this real quick. I do tend to get kind of loud and passionate when I discuss and talk about my topics. And tonight I am very excited because I actually think this is going to be the final piece of this series, The Art of Allowing. This is the last piece that I want to bring to you guys. So I'm just going to share it, just provide it, just bring it. And yeah, this week has been a very eye-opening week. I also do want to share what I wrote in my journal today. So we will go ahead and get started. This is the art of allowing, so you can release your fears, doubts, and disbelief, and allow in confidence and certainty, and of course, cash. Just gonna move the mic closer to me. So if I got a little bit louder, it's because I just moved my mic in closer, and you can now see it in the shot. So let's, boop, okay, there, now we're good. um, the art of allowing. Once again, this series has just been, it's been one that I've really enjoyed simply because the topic is one that I'm very passionate about. I don't share, I don't talk about manifestation and all of that as much as I would like to. And that is all changing. And that is part of why I'm so excited to bring this series, because this is a topic that I'm like very passionate about. And on any given day, if I get in a conversation with someone and we start talking about creating your life and how you can allow in the stuff that is for you and release the stuff that's not for you. Like, that's the stuff that I love to talk about the most. And so the fact that I'm not talking about it in my business as much as I want to has made me realize that my business is not 100% what I want it to be. And therefore, I'm not doing what I talked about in that step one, which is being honest with yourself. So I wasn't actually looking at my business, evaluating it and saying, okay, is this what I want it to be? And I'll give you guys a story of essentially how I came to this realization, which is, so this year I've doubled my business already. So basically, everything that I earned in 2019, we did that in the first 6 months of the year. It's now the end of June, and we're on track to not only double, well, obviously it's already double, but yeah, we're on track to not just keep even pace and just double it, but actually on track to do like another 25% ish above that. And so it felt really good when I noticed that happening. But then at the same time, I kept looking at my larger goal. So my larger goal for this year is 500,000. And I kept looking at that goal and I was like, do I want to earn $500,000 with what I'm doing right now? Like, if I were to just basically push the ad spend higher, get out there more, increase my audience and maximize our funnels and, all the things that I had been doing already to, earn what the business has earned already. If I were to just do that even more, like, would I still enjoy myself? Would this still be what I wanted to do? And what I realized, the point that I got to, is I was like, I don't want to earn $500,000 the way that I'm doing it right now. Like, I don't want to earn $1 million the way I'm doing it right now. I don't even want to, like, I don't want to make another dollar doing it the way that I'm doing right now. Like, it will be okay, but I don't want to do okay. I want to do great. I want to really feel good. I want to really get closer and closer to what I want. And part of this whole process and journey for me, like, business has been a journey of personal development for me. So this, there's an area in your life that is what I like to call your barbell. So when you go to the gym and you lift weights, it makes you stronger, but it sucks as you're doing it, right? Like everyone knows that squats will help you get stronger legs, and they may even help your legs grow if you're eating enough, but squats actually kind of suck. And I particularly don't like them because I have a long way down because I'm tall. And so, but I love deadlifts because I have long arms. But squats are not like the thing that I enjoy doing, but I know that getting underneath that barbell is what is going to help me progress. It's part of the development of the muscles that I have. And in your life, you have something like that. So you have something that is your barbell, you have something that is your essentially your squats, right? And so for me, business is that. Business has been my area of personal development. It's been the thing where I work on it and things get tough. I struggle, and then I keep going. I keep moving, and like sometimes things go well, sometimes things don't, but all throughout the process, I'm learning. I'm becoming a stronger person. I'm becoming a better version of me. And that's what business is for me. Business is like me doing squats essentially every single day. And so I got off on a really long tangent, forgetting what I said. But like there's something in your life that is your barbell. So for me, like I said, it's business. And so my process of personal development and getting to where I want to be in life has a lot to do with me working on a business. Because when I first started truly deciding that I wanted to create my life, I chose from that version of me, right? And that's part of what we're going to be talking about today, which is taking action as your new self, locking in your new beliefs. Like, what can you do in order to continue allowing in what's meant for you? But when you first start creating your life, you're going to choose as that version of you that you are right then, right? It makes sense. Like I can't choose what I want based on the version of me that I'm like not as yet, right? Yes and no. So like I'm choosing based on what I know. So when I first decided to start creating my life, the very first thing that I consciously remember was making a decision to go back to college because I was working in a full-time job. I had graduated from college once already with a Spanish degree. I was working full-time at a restaurant, and I felt like I was not getting paid what I should be getting paid. I was like, I have a Spanish degree. I'm speaking Spanish every single day, but yet I'm getting paid the same as someone who doesn't have a Spanish degree. I was told if I graduate with a college degree that I'll make more money, but yet that's not happening. And I remember I was complaining to the guy that I was dating at the time, who I also was working with. It was a weird situation. I was complaining to him, and he was like, why don't you just go back to college? Like, you can go back to college. He couldn't because he was a convicted felon, but that's another story for another day. He was like, I can't go to school because most schools won't accept me because I don't have, blah, 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 whatever. He's like, but you have the ability to do that. Like, you can go to college. And I was like, okay, yeah, I can. And so I started researching, and I actually went ahead and got back into college because I knew that if I went back to school that I would be able to get a degree where I could get paid well. That's another long story for another day. I ended up getting a finance degree. The world suddenly shut down because of the Great Recession, and I was back in the food service, but this time I was delivering sandwiches instead of cooking burgers. And but every single time I decided to choose, I was choosing from what I knew that I did not want based on where my life was at that point. And that's essentially where we all start, right? We all start choosing from what we don't want based on where we are right now. It's difficult to say, I don't want this thing that you haven't experienced yet. So every single time, you never stop choosing. That's the point. Every single time you go through a situation, you meet someone new, you have some sort of occurrence or something happen to you, you will realize that you either like this or you don't like this, and then you will get to choose again. And that is what life is a series of choices. So after college, I ended up going into, I finally got a job, 11 months, like a proper full-time job, about 11 months later. And then I was so excited to get that job. I remember like I didn't even negotiate the salary. They told me what it was and I was like, no need to negotiate. I'm so excited. I'm ready to work. Let's go. Let's do this. And then I got in that job and I realized this is not exactly what I want. And so it was time for me to choose again. And at that point I said, well, I know that I actually don't want a full-time job. I want to be able to work for myself. But the truth of the matter is, actually had already chosen that, but I didn't believe that it was something that was possible for me. I remember even thinking and telling myself, like, you need to sit down, get your butt in a cubicle, and stop fantasizing about working for yourself, because that's not what everybody does. People work for a living, and if you need to make money, you just need to sit in a cubicle and just be fine with it. I remember telling myself that and thinking that that's just what I had to do. So when I got that full-time job, I was like, okay, great, like this is what I have to do. And basically, LaTisha, you're just gonna like chain yourself to a desk and like forget about your desires, which I would never tell myself right now, but like forget about your desires because you just need to make money. And so I got that job and I was excited for like the first couple of paychecks. I say the first couple of paychecks because there was a lot of things that I needed to catch up on. So I was like, okay, cool. I got paid. Great. I was friends with my coworkers. Everything was fine. And then like the little things started to creep in, like the fact that I didn't really like the traffic that I was sitting in every day. And I was like, okay. So I changed that. I got an apartment that was closer to my job. Okay, great. Like I made that tiny change and that helped. But then I started thinking about like, man, I'm really tired in the middle of the day. Why can't I just like take a nap? Or wow, like I'm done with my work already. Why do I keep getting more work even though I'm being more efficient? Why am I doing more work than the next person? Am I getting paid more than the next person? Like I really want to do something that rewards me for how good of a job I do, not necessarily how many hours I work. And so at that point, I knew it was time to choose again. But choosing is not always easy. It is and it isn't. Like it's easy to make a choice, but it's not always easy to take the action and follow through with what that choice now means. And that's what I want to share with you today about taking action as your new self. So once you do make that choice and once you say, this is what I want because I'm ready to allow in what I actually desire, this is what I want to create in my life, and this is what I want to bring, what's going to happen is you lock it in by taking action as your new self. You take action as that person who has the thing that you want. So for me, my action was quitting my job. Now, to be fair, I didn't just leave my job right away. I created a spreadsheet. I still had some credit card debt that I wanted to pay off. I had a car loan that I wanted to pay off. And I said, I can be okay hanging out in this job for the next couple of months, year, whatever it is, while I pay this off and save this money. And so I put a plan in place. I put like a 3-year plan in place. It ended up getting cut short when I met my husband, and then we ended up moving to Memphis, and that's another story for another day. So I got lots of stories to share with you guys. But I put this plan in place. I ended up paying, getting rid of that debt, paying off that debt. And I ended up saving around 6 months of expenses. So once I got rid of the debt, I was able to knock my expenses down fairly low. And I saved around 6 months of expenses. And I also got a little bit of some grant money. My my husband actually gave me $5,000, which was very nice of him. And he was like, okay, great, go do it. Like, be free, do you, like, build this business that you want. And I was so excited. I was like, yes, like I took action as my new self. I quit my job. I've got 6 months of runway. Like that's plenty of time. And I remember the months started ticking by and here's the issue and the problem. I took the first action as my new self, which was leaving my job and doing what I wanted to do, which was work for myself. But I didn't continue to walk out those actions. I didn't continue to step into that new version of myself and continue being that new version. There was still some sort of fear that I was holding on to. So when the time came for me to ask for help, I didn't ask for help because I said, I can do this myself. I don't need anybody's help. And the business that I was working on, it was a personal blog at the time that I was trying to grow into like this influencer brand ambassador business. And it didn't quite work out the way that I wanted it to, which is fine because I love what I'm doing now. But part of the reason that I believe that it didn't quite work as quickly as I wanted it to is because I didn't ask for help. Like I was essentially, there were so many people that were doing exactly what I wanted. And I could have just reached out and said, hey, how are you doing this? Or, is there some coaching you can offer me or whatever? How can I, compensate you for your time? But I didn't do any of that. I just continued to go. And like month after month after month went by, and the money just was not coming in the way I wanted it to. And I remember my husband came to me and he was like, okay, babe, well, I love you and it's time for you to get a job. We talked about when we got married, like we have 2-income household, and it was a loving conversation, but I just was not ready to hear that. I wanted to just work my business full time. Like I didn't want to take a step back. And what I want to share with you today is that if you do not continue to take steps forward as your new self, you will be forced to take a step back. You have to continue taking steps forward as your new self, meaning if there's a choice that you make, you have to choose and choose and choose and choose again every single day to take action as that person who believes that new thing. For me, writing, like this is not just something I do, just writing down my goals and my beliefs every day. It's not just something I do because my mentor told me to do it. I do it because I understand that if I let it go, I will be taking a step back. I'm taking steps as the person who has that $30 million net worth that I desire. I'm taking steps as the person who does not flake on her mindset work because she knows that mindset is everything and mindset will allow her to take quantum leaps. Not like one step here and then like, okay, 30 days later we're here and then like, okay, 2 years later we finally made it here. Like, no, I can leap into a $500,000 business by December 31st this year. I 100% believe that, and I don't waver in that because I know my beliefs and I know what is possible when you're in alignment with what is meant for you, right? And what you are allowing in. Once again, this whole series is about the art of allowing, meaning that you already have a blessing, like you already have like that thing you desire is already like, it's already laid out for you. It's available for you. You have to allow it in. And part of that is, number one, being honest with what you want, right? Like we talked about in the very first session, being honest with what you want, starting with a blank slate, even if it means shaking the foundations of the things that you have now. If they're not right for you, let them go. It's not necessary to hold on to them just because you believe that you can't have something better. You have to be willing to let go of what's not right. And I don't know if I shared this story already, but I will share this with you guys. I had a conversation with one of my clients at the Royal Retreat. The retreat is the in-person event that I do every February for my mastermind, high-level clients. And during the retreat, this was 2 years ago. So not the 2019 retreat, the 2018 retreat. That's how quickly things can happen. During the retreat, we went through this exercise and I asked her, what do you need to release? Like, what do you really need to let go? And she was like, well, there's a client that I don't want to work with anymore. And so I'm just going to like not work with them anymore. I was like, okay, great. What else? And then she said, I think I need to let go of this relationship, this guy that I'm dating. And I said, okay, great. I was like, so what's stopping you from doing those? And I remember her saying like, I don't know, I guess I'm just scared that I, maybe won't meet anybody, or, I won't make enough money, by releasing that client. And I said, okay, great. So what's stopping you? Because the fear, like you have the fear, but you still don't stop. Like you just go. It doesn't really matter. So she was like, I don't know. I guess nothing. So right after the retreat, she had actually decided that she wasn't going to date at all. She was like, I'm letting go of the relationship. I'm just going to allow a good one to come to me. I'm not even going to date anybody. Like when it happens, it happens. And I love this story because she had been dating, she had been doing online dating, and there was one last date that was already scheduled. And she was like, well, I don't want to be rude to him and like cancel the date. We had already scheduled it. So I'm just going to go ahead and do it. But then after that, I'm closing everything off. And I was like, okay, that's fine. You don't have to be mean or anything. So she goes on this date. This guy turns out to be the love of her life. They start dating that year. It goes so quick that they're married by the next year. I think they got married in March or April of this year of 2020. She let go of the relationship in 2018. She met him right after the retreat in 2018. And I'm sorry, it was 2019. She met him right after the retreat in 2019. Then she came to the 2020 retreat and she was like, yeah, we're getting married in a couple months. So they were only together for like a year and a couple months before getting married. And so that's what I mean by when you release what's not for you, you will allow in what is right for you. And it can happen very, very, very quickly. The problem is that a lot of people are scared that, oh, if I let this thing go, that I won't actually receive something better. But once again, it's about starting with that blank slate. So whatever you write out, you're going to be surprised at like how much better what you actually receive is for you. I never would have been able to write like every dimension of my husband and like how he just like perfectly fit everything and then more. Like he does stuff that I don't even think that I would like enjoy, and then when he does it I just smile and I'm like, wow. Like I never would have been able to write that down, that's what I wanted. It's so weird that like clicked and moved. So that's the first step, is like we said in that first session, really letting go of what's not for you, starting with a blank slate. Then the second thing is, which we talked about in the second session, was recoding your beliefs. Once again, if you didn't watch it, go watch it. That's what I do with my notebook. I go in, whenever a doubt or fear comes up, I write out my belief statement. And then the final step is taking action in direction of your new belief. This is often why I will invest even beyond what my current level is. And I laugh when I say this because it feels sort of like, if you've ever run down a hill, that's what it feels like. It feels like you're almost gonna run too fast and you'll end up like, what's that cartoon, the Road Runner, where he's like meep meep and he like runs and then he just turns into a ball. That's sort of what that feels like. But that momentum is what allows you to shift and quantum leap in your business, in your life, and whatever it is. Like when I'm working with my coaches in the area of my fitness and body, like I feel like that. Like I feel like, wow, like I'm moving so fast. I'm doing so much. Like they had me doing so much stuff today. I'm like, I almost want to quit, but I have that blank slate, right? Where I wrote out my desires. I have that visualized and I have that in my mind. So I know that I'm not going to quit. I know that I'm not going to like just half do it. I'm going to go to the fullest and I'm going to keep running and keep moving, whatever I got to do. And even if it hurts a little bit, like the investment that I make with them, it doesn't come out of the business, comes out of my personal paycheck. So I get like a personal paycheck that comes from the business. I'm on payroll. It's already set. And so a significant chunk of that goes to my health and fitness goals. Like I really don't have a whole lot of personal expenses besides what we like split for the household. So like my actual personal expenses are fairly low, with the exception of gym membership, coaches, food, supplements, like all those things that I do to like reach my body goals. So That's part of the reason why in my business, like the business investments are separate from the personal ones, but still like making those business investments, it feels a little bit like I'm running down a steep hill, and that at any moment I'm just going to like topple, my feet are going to topple over my head, but I don't. I actually just run a lot faster, and I'm into where I want to be that much faster. I'm able to quantum leap. The coaches and mentors that I choose to work with, the courses that I choose to purchase, I have always made some sort of return and learned something new, met someone new. If I had to actually quantify it, it'd be ridiculous to actually quantify how much I've made from the courses and coaches and things that I've invested in. Like I always make my money back, but then I always get more from it because number one, I'm investing as that new version of myself. I've made back an investment. Earlier this year, I invested in a money course. And as soon as I invested in it, I made my money back right away. Why? Because I was investing as that new version of myself. And therefore, that new version of myself has the money to make the investment. And it's a little bit, it's like kind of like woo woo to even explain it or talk about it. But that version of you, when you're locking in your beliefs, you have to take action as that version of you that is solid in those beliefs. If you are solid in those beliefs, what would you do? What action would you take? What different thing would you do that you're not doing right now? The things that you're doing right now are from the current version of you. You're taking action as the current version of yourself. If you want to reach a new level, you have to take action as if you're at that level already. That's what gets you to that level. When people say, I'm ready to level up, but then they like don't do anything, like you're not going to a new level if you're not taking action from that new level, right? You can't call yourself a runner if you don't put shoes on and go outside and run. You can't say, I'm so excited, I'm ready to level up, I'm ready to be a runner. And like you're still sitting at home and you don't even have running shoes. If you're a runner, you buy running shoes and you go outside and you run. So if you want to be that next level version of yourself, why aren't you buying your running shoes and why aren't you running? Right? So that is the final piece. That's how you lock in your new beliefs, and that's how you really allow in everything that is meant for you, all those things that you want. If you see it, if you can see it and you desire it, that is what is for you. And I actually wrote this down yesterday where I said, sometimes I get a glimpse, just a sneak peek at what is in store for me, and I get really excited. It was never taken away from me. It's just in the process of baking. Don't rush it and ruin the taste. If it's meant for you, you will be able to see it. And when you see it, that's how you know it's meant for you. And you might actually even get a glimpse of it. You might get a sneak peek. You might have like this one day or something that's like, oh, wow. Like, I'm kind of surprised that that happened like that. It's all you did was you happened to turn the oven light on and you looked in and you can see the great thing that's in there baking. So now that you know that you are going to receive and allow in the things that are meant for you, what are you going to do in the meantime? How are you going to enjoy life in the meantime? This was the exact question that I asked myself when I manifested my husband. I wrote down the list of what I wanted. I still actually have the list in my notes app. And I put everything in there. If you haven't watched the video, I did do a video on YouTube where I talked about the whole process. It's actually very interesting. And I also tell our actual story of how we met and all that. So it's a great story. If you haven't seen it, you should go watch it. My YouTube is YouTube/LaTisha Styles. And so I wrote down everything that I wanted in a husband, everything that I wanted in a man. Whether or not we got married, I decided to release that outcome. I was like, I just want a safe and secure and solid relationship with lots of hugs, love, and cuddles. And I remember, that process where I was like, okay, if I truly believe that he's coming, he's on his way, then like, there's no need for me to keep asking for him, right? It's like, what am I going to do in the meantime? Because I'm just going to be surprised and delighted when what I request comes in. So how am I going to enjoy myself in the meantime? And so I was like, well, like, what would I do? I mean, I don't know. What have I always wanted to do? Like, let me just enjoy myself being single. Like, what? maybe on Friday nights I won't be able to go out to the club. So like, let me just go out to the club because, we might have date nights, which we do sometimes. We have date nights on Friday nights every now and then. At least we used to when we first got married. And now we just kind of have date nights whenever. But I started thinking about like, what would I do in the meantime? So that's part of my process of manifestation. But that's one of the most important pieces is like, if you truly believe that it's in there, it's for you, you've already requested it and you're allowing it in, it's in the oven baking. Like, what are you going to do in the meantime? What are you going to do in the meantime to enjoy yourself? But not only that, how are you going to take action from that future version of yourself that already has what you believe is for you? That's it. Hi, Dr. L. Hi, Lori. Welcome. Thank you so much for joining me tonight. Yes, to level up, you have to take actions at that level. Absolutely. So I am going to end it there. If there are any questions or comments or anything else that you would like to add, please be sure to add that. This series, for those of you who are here live, I will be leaving this series up for a little bit. And then I'm going to pull it down and likely package it up into a course or program. So definitely get what you need to get from it. If you haven't watched the other sessions, I just did 3. I thought I was going to go a little bit longer, but this is really what I had to offer. We did starting with a blank canvas, recoding your beliefs, and taking action as your new self for our 3 sessions. All right. Well, I don't see any other questions. I know there's a little bit of a lag, which is why I usually give it some time. But if there is nothing else, I will call it a night and go make my protein waffle before I go to bed. You guys have a wonderful evening, and I will see you guys in the next one. Okay. Bye.